Dan Bongino and Kash Patel have announced that they are reviewing now some old cases that the Joe Biden regime just kind of left by the wayside, thought that maybe they wouldn't be picked back up again. But FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino said, shortly after swearing in, the director and I evaluated a number of cases of potential public corruption that understandably have garnered public interest. We made the decision to either reopen or push additional resources and investigative attention to these cases. These cases are the DC pipe bombing investigation, the cocaine discovery at the prior administration's White House, and the leak of the Supreme Court Dobbs case. I receive requested briefings on these cases weekly, and we are making progress. If you have any investigative tips on these matters that may assist us, then please contact the FBI. Now, I thought these cases were just going to kind of go away. It's not that I don't know if I trust Dan Bongino and Kash Patel. The jury's still out on them because of all of the weird, yes, we're releasing the Epstein files day one to, we don't know if it's going to be released. Also, Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. Trust me, he did it. There's nothing to see here. He definitely killed himself. We saw it. Just trust us, bro. And so you have now all of a sudden the DC pipe bombing investigation reopened, looking into it. The leak of the Supreme Court Dobbs case, which honestly, I almost forgot happened because there's so many other things that have happened since then, but it can't be overstated how important it is that we find out who leaked that, because I mean, this was the big case that overturned Roe versus Wade, sent the abortion issue back to the states. And you had, Justice Kavanaugh, you had Justice Alito, you had Justice Thomas, you had all of these Supreme Court justices who were credibly threatened over this leak and over this decision. You had what his name was, John Rosk, who was arrested near Brett Kavanaugh's house, carrying a gun, a knife, and zip ties. So this was a very, very serious leak, and there were, I'll say, rumors that it was tied to Sonia Sotomayor's office. But hey, the Inspector General, they ran a thorough investigation and they just had to close it because they just couldn't figure it out. I mean, this criminal was just the brain cells that this criminal must have, just outsmarting every single expert, every inspector, every investigator. They just covered their tracks, or maybe their tracks were covered for them. So perhaps we will actually find out what happened here. Perhaps there will actually be some accountability. And specifically the cocaine case, I'm very interested in what happened there.
I argue that these cases are about to be investigated for the first time.
Yeah, that's a great point.
It's not.
That's a great point.
Reinvestigate. They were not investigated. I mean, you can't suck this bad. Okay. Nobody. It's intentional. We say this over and over again. These things are intentional. So whether you cover the tracks or just, investigate it, air quotes, and we find nothing. And that's predetermined. And you know what? We don't know where the cocaine came from. It was dropped by some emu or something that flew over the White House, fell through an air duct, and just appeared.
Just there. Just right in that locker right there.
Just in that locker, it just appeared. There's no trace. I was in the White House last week. There's cameras everywhere.
Everywhere.
I mean everywhere. And not
Everyone
just cameras. There's people everywhere. The place is so congested, right? I mean, you can't so I think it's for the first time when, by definition of investigation, I think it's the first time it's being investigated.
Yeah, no, that is a great point. Can the prior investigations even count as investigations, especially with the Supreme Court leak? It's like, well, we interviewed people and they all said they didn't know. So case closed. They said they didn't know. They said it wasn't them. Eric. Yeah. They said it wasn't me.
Who did you interview? The guy.
Yeah.
Was it relevant? I don't know. He was in the area.
No.
So we just picked that guy.
Yeah. All the people who had access to the information, but they reliably informed me that they didn't have anything to do with it. And they were really nice when they said it, so I believed them.
Yeah, I think a couple of things are happening here. Kash and Bongino, particularly Kash, who's there first, they need a dub. Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty bad. I think a lot of their base is rightfully getting a little impatient.
They don't have one.
Bondi can be thrown in there as well, but especially with the FBI. And I think a lot of that has to do with kind of how Cash would speak about it prior to him being put in this position. You thought that there was going to be a pretty massive shakeup. You thought there was going to be a massive uncovering, and maybe you can make the argument for all of the government agencies there. And you haven't really got that big haymaker, that bomb with anything that has been looked at. So I think what they're doing now here is it's a little tactics involved in it as well. Do I agree that all of those instances should be, especially the pipe bomb? If you remember just how that was ran with, particularly with the media there, and trying to paint the other side as these violent people who are like they led with that, and that was a hoax, top to bottom. Really, the whole thing was a hoax. We know that, but it's worth obviously looking into. So the investigation needs to happen. I'd argue that Jaco nails it. That I think the last administration really looked at it into detail. Probably not, especially with that leak there. I think that was one of those there. You got to kind of accept one of two things. One, there is some big incompetence in all of these positions, right? That exists, that all of y'all didn't know anything that was going on and how this happened. Or two, it was an inside job. Mm-hmm. That's the only way something like that is done that clean.
Which is
more logic.
That is more likely to happen, right? Because it's like it's too clean. Mm-hmm. If you actually looked into it. Either way, this is, of course, information that I think the American people would be happy with finding something there. But I think we for sure have to focus on, they need that dub. They need that dub bad.
Yeah, no, they do. And to your point, Eric, our very own Steve Baker here at Blaze Media has done incredible work on trying to uncover who that pipe bomber was, or just any sort of information about who it could be, who it may be related to. And it was just very bizarre when you start looking at the details of the activity of DC police, of Capitol Police, leading up to that day. You had then VP-elect Kamala Harris, who visited the DNC. It was not on her schedule. She was not supposed to have visited. We still don't know why she was at the DNC. And it was like this very strange, inactive pipe bomb that seemed to be planted and missed by these K9 dogs, by these sweeps that they did. I mean, everything around it, everything surrounding it stinks. And I hate that we are living in a time where the last 4 years, I mean, Jaco, you said, and I agree with you, you said this can't just be incompetence, but it's sad that it does give you pause that this was the most incompetent administration in history. And I agree with you. It's right. This is all intentional. There's no way that you guys are that incompetent. But they were the most incompetent. So then you go I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure it's more than that. But you guys were pretty stupid. So
But I want to, and I can't speak out too much, but there's things we're uncovering. I just want to say this, and I spoke about it before the show. The amount of dysfunction that was created intentionally, and I'm talking about intentionally polluting evidence, intentionally corrupting data systems to where today Health and Human Services, the ORR, Director Salazar can't read data because it was intentionally corrupted. They can't share the data with ICE. This notion that we think that bad actors will be in control for 4 years and leave you anything.
That's a great point.
Anything to come after them with, get it out of your mind. Forget about your Epstein lists and it's gone. They destroyed it. They left you nothing. They left chaos, which I'll tell you, as fast as the Trump administration, I'm telling you firsthand, I'm sitting in the meetings in DC, as fast as the Trump administration wants to fix, they're learning that I want to get you to the other side of the lake, but we got to build the boat. We thought there was a boat. There's no boat. You got to build the boat. You got to build the systems to fix the system. And it's a waiting game. It's this, hey, if we can't win, break it.
Yeah.
So that all they do is fixing it before advancing it. And the public wants, hey, let's move forward. You're right. Why these cases?
Right.
Because I think they can get a win.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
And
they do need one.
look,
They do need one.
They get the win. That's amazing.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I am not one of those guys that is like, they looks at politics as if it's this like ever so glorious thing where you have all these actors that are always well-intentioned, even if they may be a little stupid. They're always well-intentioned. I don't believe any of that. I believe that with politics come tactics, right?
Yes.
It's a game of optics in a lot of cases. So I do think that trying to get the Dobbs where they can is a smart move on their behalf. And I do want to be clear about that. I also understand that that's partially why they are doing it, because it's not, this isn't something, I think this frustration that's growing with their base, right? Especially with regards to the FBI, people had saw that how that was weaponized against the people that were like politically aligned with them, at least in some capacity. And so people are frustrated, right? And they're looking for something, like give them something. Like, you guys came in here, you were talking this big game about what we were going to do. You had this one guy who was like, oh, that's the guy we need. He's the guy that's been speaking against the FBI. He said he was going to do this and that. They need something there. And I guess, like, tactically, it makes all the sense in the world to look at the last administration and some of their cover-ups, or some of the things that at least happened under their wing, to at least try to root out some of these issues, but also, again, get your political victory.
Yeah, I agree. If you like this clip and you want to see the full episode, click here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, come on, you know you do. Click here.